Hello there, everyone. It is Dr. Siobhan Parak here, founder of Relatable. Excuse me, I am battling a cold that I got from one of my children. So if I sound a little stuffy, little frog in my throat, that's what it is. But I am committed to these 4 days of live stream about self-care. And then I'm going to hop off quickly to grab myself a cup of tea and to take care of my own self. So how are you? How are you doing? I hope that you are doing fine. My nose is itchy. Like whenever I get on these live streams, my nose is like always itchy. I don't know why. Maybe someone's thinking about me. Anyways, so self-care. I have been doing a 4-day series on the topic of self-care. And have you been watching? Have you been following? Have you seen the previous episodes? So the great thing is you can watch them in any order. So if you're catching this one first, no worries, it's totally fine. The first live stream was all about what every woman needs to know about self-care. And there I outlined some really interesting points that I don't think a lot of us think about when it comes to self-care, so be sure to check that out. And then yesterday, my live stream was all about, what was it about? I'm having like a mommy moment. Let me look it up. I remember my actual 3 points, but I want to actually tell you what it was about first. It was about 3 ways you unknowingly neglect yourself. And I'm neglecting my memory right now, obviously. But anyways, so that's what I talked about yesterday. I talked a little bit about comparison, about looking forward only to what you have to accomplish versus what you have already accomplished in your life, and how sometimes we don't fully recognize just how much God loves us. So those are the 3 points. See, I told you I remembered the points. I just couldn't remember the big umbrella term. But anyways, so those 2 live streams are still here on the page. If you want to check them out, be sure to do so. And today I wanted to come and talk with you about self-care practices of extraordinary women, right? So what I want you to do is I want you to think about someone that you feel is just absolutely extraordinary, right? Someone who just seems to go after everything that they desire, someone who seems to just be living the life that they want, someone who maybe is a really influential person in your life, whether that's someone you know personally or someone that maybe is a notable or celebrity in some way. And I just want you to like get a picture in their head. Get a picture of them in your head, excuse me. And just think about them for a moment. So for me, the 2 people that always come to mind, well, 3. And this is like a good snapshot of my own personality. So the 3 people that come to mind when I think of extraordinary women, Michelle Obama, of course, right? Oprah, of course, and Beyonce. So whether you're a Beyonce fan or not, what this woman has been able to achieve in her career and the empire is nothing short of extraordinary. And so those are the 3 people that come to mind. And so, you know, it's sort of like when you see someone achieve such great success in their life, you kind of ask yourself, like, well, what is it that they're doing that I'm not doing, right? Like, there's no lucky breaks. Like, yes, there is definitely being in the right place at the right time, and there is absolutely the path and the destiny that God has already set aside for you. But at the end of the day, we are all given the same 24 hours in the day, yet some people are really able to take care of themselves. Hey, Lauren, some people are really able to take care of themselves with like grace and just make it look so seamless and easy and achieve these phenomenal things in their life. And so when I see people who have achieved, you know, extraordinary levels of success, it always makes me wonder, like, well, how did they get there? Like, what are the things that they do, right? There's certainly skill and talent, and again, just being in the right place at the right time. But there's so many people that have been able to achieve that. There has to be some other common denominator amongst them that really is contributing to them being so extraordinary in their lives. So I'm glad you're here. So I'm talking about self-care practices of extraordinary women. And I'm not going to go into a ton of detail on each and every one of them. Some of them I'll talk about a little bit more than others, but there are 8 of them that I wanted to share with you today. And all I really want you to do is to listen out for the one that you are going to make a commitment to implementing and integrating into your own life on a very consistent basis, okay? And as I looked at this list, I was kind of like happy to see that several of them I actually do. So as I read them, I want you to just make a comment like, yes, I do that, or no, I'm going to start thinking about that one, okay? Just do your own little quiz to see if you are doing the things that like Oprah and Michelle Obama and Beyonce and whoever is extraordinary in your book does. Number 1, reading. They read, right? They read all the time. And I think when we hear the word read, for some of us, it could be an automatic turn off because it's like, Siobhan, I don't have time to have a book in my hand. I don't have time to read. I don't have time to sit. I don't have time to do any of that. And the idea of like reading a book from cover to cover is a little bit daunting. But I think what's underneath the reading are a couple of things. One, reading can take many different forms. I actually listen to my books on Audible. So that is my form of reading right now. Many of you know I have 2 small children, and so actually holding a book in my hand that's not a book I'm reading to them is a very difficult thing for me at this stage of life. But I make a point of always reading, right? And something like Audible, and I don't get any, kickbacks from this at all, but something like Audible sort of keeps you on track because it's like 1 book a month. Like, could you commit to 1 book a month on a topic, a skill, a piece of information that's going to make your life better, right? Just think about that. Is that something you can do? And so that's part of what's underneath it. Like, reading doesn't necessarily mean a traditional sit with a book for hours upon hours. It could be an audiobook. The other thing, hey Tiffany, great to have you here too. The other thing is, I think when we think about reading, it's really the principle that I think we should all take away with is they consume information that's going to make their life better, right? So how much time do we waste, right? And there's no judgment here. It's just literally a question. Hey, Adele, I hope I said that right. How much time do we waste doing things that actually don't make our lives better? That at the end of the day, we have nothing to show for it. Now, I used to be a TV holic. Right now, at this stage of my life, I think I probably stopped really watching TV about 3 years ago when our daughter was born, and we just didn't have it on very much. And I didn't miss it. Now, I was a person that was literally addicted to TV. But in those moments that I had, because they became so precious to me, I was like, I want to fill my mind and my spirit and my soul with the things that are going to make my life better, that are going to make me a better person, a better parent, a better businesswoman, a better servant, a better whatever, fill in the blank, right? And so my values changed, and I began to thirst after consuming material that was going to make my life better, that was going to help me manage my emotions in challenging situations, that was going to help me communicate well in different areas, in different arenas, in different settings. And so that's what I personally did. And so again, as you listen to these practices, just think about the one that you want to commit to. And if it's not reading, that's okay. Again, there's no judgment here. I'm just sharing with you what these extraordinary people do for self-care. And feeding yourself intellectually, feeding yourself personally in terms of your own development is a self-care practice, right? And just the fact that you're even watching this live stream is a self-care practice. It means that you're taking time away from something else that you could be doing to pour into yourself, to fill yourself up. So congratulations to you for that in the first place. So that was one of them. And they're in no particular order. The other one was exercise. Now, I wish I could raise my hand and say that I consistently exercise. Hey, Gina, but I don't. But when I do, I feel great, right? We all probably have that experience where not only do you feel emotionally well because you have this sense of accomplishment, but your body is just functioning at a higher level. And one of the other benefits of exercise, besides, the traditional things that you also hear about, is that it really offers a place to clear your mind. I find that when I can take a walk, like I have like so many new ideas, or I can see situations and challenges that I may be confronted with in different ways. And so exercising does not necessarily have to mean you're going to the gym. It can mean you're like any way that you're moving your body, because when there's a special alignment between your mind, body, and spirit, and when you're moving your body in a sort of regular way, it just brings everything together better. Okay, so that's number 2. I'm not going to spend a ton of time about exercise because, we all know what that means. Number 3, self-care practice of extraordinary women. And this is something that I have had on my sort of radar to really be intentional about achieving in my own life. And it's that they have a mentor, right? And so a mentor can take a lot of different forms. But I think the most important takeaway from that concept of having a mentor is that you have someone in your life who can help you. You have someone in your life who's maybe a few steps ahead of you in a particular area that can help you. I was talking to a friend of mine, and I was describing a conversation I had with another young lady who was saying, like, amongst her friends, she's the one that everybody turns to. Like, when they have a problem, they go to her. And that she didn't really have anyone to go to when she had an issue. And my friend described that as like, oh yeah, she's the well. And I was like, whoa, I didn't even know that that was a term, but it is, right? You're, ask yourself, like, are you the well? Are you the person that your friends always come to, or that people always come to, taking away from, right? Dipping into your water and not pouring back into you. And so if you find yourself in that place, you're depleted, right? You're exhausted. You carry the burdens of other people. Whereas if you can find yourself a mentor, and again, that can look a lot of different ways. Some people even consider me and what I do virtually behind this computer as being a mentor, right? And I'm definitely accessible and available to people in many different forms. And so I think the point for you, for us all to think about is, like, do I have a mentor? Do I have someone that when I have an issue that I'm struggling with that I can go to, who will support me, who will encourage me and keep me on track in the direction that I need to be headed in any area of your life, right? So that was point number 3. Point number 4 of practices of extraordinary women is positive mindset. Indeed, I am a well. I am. But, I'm identifying mentors. Thank you, Lord. I am identifying my own mentors. So positive mindset. And what I want to say about this, right? Like, we can all agree that it's better to be positive, right? To be optimistic, to look forward with hope, and to have high expectations for things going your way. Great, fine. What I believe sets apart extraordinary women from the typical is that they're actually intentional about it. So there's nothing different about Oprah's brain chemistry or, mind or thoughts, right, than ours. Like, all of us as human beings are prone to think negative. We're prone to self-doubt. We're prone to comparing ourselves to others, for feeling inadequate and unworthy. And in some areas, like we're a failure or like we're behind. We're all prone to that. But what sets apart those extraordinary women is that they intentionally create practices. They intentionally seek out tools, techniques, and resources to overcome that. That they are very intentional about, one, recognizing when they get into these self-fulfilling prophecies, or they get into this victim mode of woe is me and I can't ever do anything, and they intentionally decide to change their mind and to be positive, to think positive, to act positively, even in the face of fear. right? So that's the point that I really want to hone in on. It's not just, oh, let me think positively and positive things will happen. It's making a decision that no matter what you're confronted with, that you will make the best of it. You will see the best in it no matter what. That's a lifelong endeavor, but definitely something for us to all think about. Point number 5 is they meditate. They meditate. So I have an interesting relationship with meditation. I'll share that when I first came across the practice, honestly, it was from the movie What's Love Got to Do with It, with Angela Bassett, and she's sitting there chanting, right? And I was like, what is she doing? What is that? Like, I don't want any parts of meditation, right? And so what I've come to appreciate and understand about meditation over the years is that it really is our opportunity to hear from God, right? Being a believer, being a Christian, I'm not necessarily practicing meditation in some of those ancient, Eastern religion form. That for me, when I say the word meditation, what it means is it's my time to quiet my own mind and to hear from God, right? So prayer is our sort of directional conversation with God where we're sharing with him our desires. Meditation is where we allow God to enter into us and for us to hear him. And I remember that Oprah was interviewing Arianna Huffington of the Huffington Post, and she talked about meditation as a practice and how like so many of these people that have achieved extraordinary success in their lives, that they all do it. And I was like, what in the world is this? Still, I wasn't like warmed up to it. And now I see the value. Because that's where your soul and your spirit gets to align with your creator. That's where if you're confronted with a decision in your life that you need to make, or you're not sure what to do, or you're just feeling down and depleted, that's the process, the ritual that you can commit to fill you up, to give you the direction. And it is by far like my number one self-care practice. Every morning before I wake up, I have a prayer meditation app that I listen to before my feet hit the floor, provided no child has woken up already. So I highly encourage you, if you've never practiced meditation, to give it a second try, or to give it a first try, a second look, a first try. And there's lots of apps that can help you do that. I personally love an app called Abide, and it's literally abide, like abiding with God. It's an amazing app. So that's number 5. Number 6, which I love, is they hang out with like-minded people. So you've probably heard, or at least you'll hear now, this notion of you are the average of the 5 people you hang around most. So I want you to think about the 5 people that you spend the most time with, whether that's physical time together or just conversational time together, or emotional and mental time together, thinking about who are those people. And it can be, what I loved when I first really delved into this concept, it can be people that maybe you don't really even know. Like I know for myself, I listen to a lot of podcasts, I listen to, again, a lot of books, that there's some influencers and some spiritual teachers that I would consider people one of those top 5, because I'm listening to their messages all the time. I'm consuming their content all the time. And so in the grand scheme of things, I really am spending a lot of time with them, even though they may not technically be spending time with me. So I want you to think about that. Like, who are the people that you spend the most time with? And look at that, right? Look at that as a reflection of where you are. You always want to be surrounding yourself with people that are going in the same direction you are, and if possible, people that are a few steps ahead of you. And so that's one of the reasons why when I create the social events that I do, I always put out, like, this is a time for you to connect with like-minded people. And I've been so fortunate to have a circle of like-minded people who, as I've grown and transitioned in my life in terms of my marriage and having children, that my friends have sort of progressed along with me. But I recognize that that reality is not everyone's reality, that you may be married with small children and like everyone else you know in your circle is still single. Or maybe they're now divorced, or maybe their children are much older. And so it's really important that you find opportunities to connect with like-minded people, not only for that social connection, but for that networking, right? Like many of us are working our regular 9 to 5 and then have these side passions or other businesses that we really want to be doing. And so by getting outside of your home, getting outside of your normal circle of friends and going out to networking events, going out to other social events where you can connect with other people is something that will fill you up and refresh you and renew you, but could also give you new ideas for whatever it is you have on your mind to do. And so I encourage you, again, just like these extraordinary women, to surround yourself with like-minded people, okay? And find and seek out opportunities for you to connect with others. And if you're in New Jersey and you happen to be free this Saturday, you can join an amazing group of women at the Wifey Social, which is listed on this page in the events tab. Shameless plug, I know, but it's true. It's the truth. Okay, so number 7, and we have 8 of these, right? So you're just thinking of the one that you're going to practice for yourself. Number 7 was they pursue their interests, right? And so this was an interesting one because on the surface you could just see it like, okay, yeah, fine, like they pursue their interests, like I might pursue my interests. But when I thought about this a little bit deeper, especially coming off of the segment series I did on asking this question, who are you? In order to be able to pursue your interests, you actually have to know who you are, right? You have to know what it is you like and not what it is everyone else is like expecting you to like, not what everyone has like been pushing you to do, but you have to know for yourself, like, what are the things that light you up inside? Like, if you had no care in the world, right, how would you be spending your time? What are the things you can't help yourself but do? And when I did those live streams, I talked about how whenever I go out to like a restaurant or a venue, like I'm always looking at the space, like, can I do an event here? Like, this place is so beautiful, like I have to do an event here. I have to find a way to bring people here. And that was a signal to me that I like doing events, that I like bringing people together in beautiful spaces to have meaningful conversation. But I first had to know that about myself, which required that I know who I am. And so that's something else, right? Do you know what you truly like to do? Whether it's what you're paid to do in your job or not, do you know what you really like to do? Can you pursue your interests, right? Self-care practice, because when you are pursuing your passions and the things that you care deeply about, you feel fulfilled because you're in alignment with that desire, that skill set, that ability that God gave you in the first place. And so many times, because we live our lives shut up in the box that other people have told us and placed us in, we don't get to explore that side of us. But again, when you can quiet your mind, when you can spend a little bit of time meditating and hearing from God, He'll reveal it to you. He'll reveal to you who you are, what you love to do, and hopefully give you the courage to actually pursue those things, right? So that you can find fulfillment in living a life of purpose, right? And then number 7, which is something, number 8, excuse me, which is something that I have my ebbs and flows of doing, but when I do it, I see the results. And this is they get up early. Now, I mean early, right? So there is the time you need to get up to like get out the door and go to work, right? And then there's getting up early. And there was a time where I think I made a commitment to getting up at 5. And really, I probably don't need to get up until like 7. But in those moments where I got up at 5, sure, it was hard getting out of bed. Absolutely. I'm not going to lie. But when I had those 2 hours before anyone else was awake, before I really had other things that I needed to be doing, it was magnificent. because it gave me the space to be intentional about what I wanted for that day, right? It allowed me time to meditate, to connect with God. It allowed me to think about the day before and, you know, the things that maybe didn't go the way that I wanted, and maybe the lessons I learned that I needed to implement. It allowed me to think about how I wanted to be, how I wanted the day to unfold. And it also enabled me to get a few things done so that by the time my children were awake, I was like ready, eager to like be present and dedicate myself to them, because I first refreshed myself by waking up early. And was it a sacrifice? Yes. Did it mean I really needed to go to bed at certain times? Absolutely. And tonight I'm going to bed almost as soon as this live stream is over, so I can wake up early. So that's another self-care practice, right? And so again, I'll just go over them all really quickly. I want you to think about which one you're going to incorporate into your life. Number one, reading or listening to an audiobook. Number two, exercise. Number three, have a mentor. Number four, a positive mindset, being intentional about having a positive mindset. Number five, meditating or finding some quiet time to connect with and hear from God. Number six was hang out with like-minded people. Number seven was pursue their interests. And number eight was get up early. So there you have it. Practices of extraordinary women. Now I want to know, are you extraordinary? Like, are you committed to being extraordinary? It's one thing to say it, right? It's another thing to do the things that will give you an extraordinary life. So that's what I have for you today. I hope it has been helpful. If you've been following these live streams, you know I've been giving hints about an amazing experience I've got coming up in December. Super excited about it. I'm going to be announcing it officially very, very soon. Let me see if I can remember what the hints were. So the first hint was that it was a getaway, that it was a one night away, December 8th and 9th. So that was clue number one. Clue number two from yesterday, you guys, I don't know why I cannot remember what I said yesterday. I don't even remember clue number two. Sorry. I have to go back to the other live stream. I'm not going to sit here and try to remember, because you know what's going to happen as soon as I press finish on this live stream? I'm going to remember. Not sure. Surely I am. But today, the clue is the Friday night includes some amazing things. It includes massages, mini makeovers. It includes a stylist. It includes a photo shoot. It includes amazing food, of course. I should have said that first. I'm such a foodie. It includes a personality assessment, right? So you can like find out all the little like intricate details of your personality. It includes something related to your health and wellness, and some other things that I'm not going to say tonight. So if any of that sounds like, wait, what? A massage, a mini makeover, a photo shoot, learning about my personality, finding out how to have better health and wellness, if any of that sounds like stuff you're like, wait a minute, I've got to know about it, I'll tell you. I'll tell you before I tell everybody else, but you've got to put in the comments, tell me now, Siobhan. If you put that in the comments, I will send you the link before it's released to the masses, because there is limited space for this experience. So if you want your ticket, you better hurry up and let it be known, because I've already got a pretty sizable group of people that are registered, and I haven't even announced it publicly. So don't miss out. Just put in the comments, tell me now, Siobhan, and I'll be happy to send you all the details. Now, in the meantime, tomorrow, I will be back with you. I will be right back here at 9:30 tomorrow, and tomorrow my post will be all about 3 requirements for great self-care. You don't want to miss it. I don't want to miss it. I'm actually really looking forward to it. So thank you for tuning in. If you found this helpful or entertaining or worth sharing on Facebook, please hit that share button and share it with somebody else. I would be so grateful to spread this message and all that I'm doing to help women take better care of themselves, because we really need it. We always talk about it, but we're not always about it, right? And so this is about talking about it and being about it. So I am going to sign off so I can get to bed, so I can wake up early tomorrow and have a fabulous day. I hope you will do one of the 8 things that I've mentioned in this live stream. All right, I'll be back with you soon. Bye.